Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.
Hey guys, welcome in and a very happy, it is now Friday here, December the 9th. Kind of hard to believe, just a few more weeks here in 2022, and then we'll say bye-bye. Welcome in a brand new year, but a lot of association games here to go over between now and then. Nice card here tonight. In fact, you guys know the routine. We'll run through a bunch of these games, see if we can't find a couple of angles, a few best bets, and we're going to do it with who is that? 3 of the best at WagerTalk.com, at least 2 anyway. You guys know the prop god, Mr. Andy Lang in the house there. The legendary Mr. Rob Vino, and apparently you leave the computer on, anybody will come walking through it. Brian Power in the house making his NBA tip-off show. First appearance is the inaugural appearance. Welcome in, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to see you. Talk to me here, Andy Lang. I know a lot going on this weekend for you, UFC, NFL. What's going on over at WagerTalk.com as we get ready?
You are correct. A busy weekend. NBA. We've cashed a couple NHL player props last couple nights. We do have a UFC event, but honestly, and Brian Brian Leonard, I should say, has made fun of me for using the phrase "to be honest," like I'm going to, do anything else. But keep saying, what are we running hot in? NFL 5% plays. There are 15-4 on those. We had not 1, not 2, but 3 NFL 5% plays last week. We hit all of them, and we have another one up for Sunday. So that is what I'm telling people that we're running best in. So encourage everyone to get that at WagerTalk.com. Loaded card. This is a great night of player props. So a lot of great matchups. Excited to talk basketball with you guys, and hope to cash on these props tonight. Should be a great night.
Yep, no reason not to head on over there, guys. Visit all 3 of these gentlemen, including Rob Vino. Vino, talk to us, man. On this Friday, a lot going on in the association. A light college card, but what do you got locked and loaded for us?
Yeah, I even go way off the screen, Joe, to the FCS quarterfinal playoffs. We got a couple of plays up right now, 4% best bet from one of tonight's games. There are 3. 3 of the 4 are being played tonight, 1 being played tomorrow, but we got a 4% best bet plus another play up and available right now, along with NBA action. Best bet threw a half one up there since this afternoon. So I think there is 1 additional play and a player prop as well up. So 3 plays in all in NBA plus a couple of FCS playoff matchups. You can get it all WagerTalk.com.
All right, well, we got ourselves a newbie here, guys. I apologize ahead of time. I have no idea what's going to come out of his mouth. But Brian Power is in the house. Welcome into the NBA Tip-Off Show, my friend. We've had you, of course, on the college basketball show, college football show. Talk to us here about the NBA. How is the season going, and what do you got ready for us here at WagerTalk.com?
Well, Joe, I was on the fence when they asked me about coming on the show. But when they said you were hosting, I said, it's a lock. Mark me down.
Yes.
I mean, there is no better way to end the, end a Friday and go into the weekend than hanging out with my good buddy Joe. So here I am, ready to serve. We already have a winner in the books. on Friday. The Netherlands, I only needed 1 goal. They're very happy they got 2, but I had the both teams to score prop in the World Cup match that is still ongoing as we speak right now. So 1-0 to start Friday. I have 2 NBA plays locked and loaded tonight. You can get them $29 for the pair. And I may or may not be giving out one of them here on the program today.
Look at you.
There you go. And
Fancy.
6 NFL plays up for Sunday as well. Too,
Damn.
so.
All right. See, a lot of ways to make some cash this weekend. Apparently, betting soccer is one of Brian's. Who knew Tony Mejia would be here with the name Brian Power today? Shocking, but it's good to see you here, my friend. Let us start with our contrarian play of the day. And you guys know how this works. The contrarian gods called in, and I believe they took a look at, what did they decide on? Sacramento, they're getting 3.5 in this matchup here tonight. Been a little rough stretch for them here. Not as good as it has been in weeks past. So, Andy, I'll start with you in this matchup here. Anybody in particular you like in this game from a prop betting perspective? And are you siding with the contrarian gods here?
Well, as you know, I basically 100% of the time side with the contrarian gods. I would just ask the contrarian gods, if they're listening, could the contrarian gods pick a game where Donovan Mitchell and De'Aaron Fox aren't both questionable? It would make this contrarian gods play a lot easier. So,
way to go.
From a prop betting perspective, the contrarian gods have graced us with only one player with props available. That's, of all people, Evan Mobley.
Yes.
So I get to handicap one guy, and I will take Evan Mobley under 9.5 rebounds. Jared Allen is playing, and believe it or not, the Sacramento Kings are the #1 team preventing rebounds at the power forward position. They don't even allow 8 rebounds to the position as a whole. So with Jared Allen in there and Sacramento doing a good job against power forwards, that's the only play I can recommend. I would say this is just a lean. This is not something you should put money on. The prop literally just came out. So, but when we get to That's My Dog, I have another game that I'm going to give out a few more props on this one. But really nothing I can do with props on this one. Slight lean to Mobley under his rebounds.
It does appear, Vino, that at least the market seems to be leaning towards the Kings here from the open. So does that lead you to believe Donovan Mitchell not going, or does it make really even a bit of difference at this particular point? You think Sacramento's got enough firepower to handle it one way or the other?
Yeah, I'm going to say that I don't know that it makes a world of difference, but I'm going to lean with the contrarian gods here on the Cleveland side, minus the 3.5. I guess you can get 3s out there. The Cleveland Cavaliers, the roster, the lineup, the rotation tonight will basically be what it was last year, even if Donovan Mitchell doesn't go, right? So looking at the matchups here, Andy talked about Sacramento not allowing a lot of boards to power forwards. However, I do feel there's a huge front court advantage with Jared Allen back for the Cavaliers here against the Kings in this particular situation. And I would say this, if De'Aaron Fox doesn't go, I think his absence is more noteworthy than would be Donovan Mitchell's. Next man up in the absence of De'Aaron Fox would be Davion Mitchell. Probably not the same playmaking ability, probably not the same scoring ability, and a little bit better defender for sure. But I think when you start weighing options here, Joe, the defensive disparity between these two teams heavily in favor of the Cavs. I always tend to lean toward Friday night home teams. This is a very, very short price range for the Cavs, who still have enough overall. Let's say this. They're at home. They're likely to control the pace in this game. The contrast in pace is pretty significant. Sacramento wants to go. Cleveland wants to play in the mud. I think playing in the mud bears out here, and Cleveland can hold Sacramento's offense down a little bit, especially if Fox doesn't go. So believe it or not, I'm not going to slap at the contrarian gods today. I'm actually going to walk right over to their side and join in and take Cleveland -3.
Well, that would absolutely make you backhanding the contrarian gods since they're on Sacramento +3.5. But Vino, far be it for
No,
me
they're not.
to have you wanting to side with the contrarian gods here. Brian Power, I hope you know by now this is a complete shit show. So why don't you let us know if you like Sacramento or Cleveland in this game?
Okay, so how does this work, Joe? By the way, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out, Brian. And I've been on for 3 years, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it.
So I'm supposed to pick one of the teams, Joe, right?
That's
we're
correct.
betting on
That's
this
correct,
show?
yes.
Is that what we're doing? Okay.
Cleveland, Sacramento. It is opposite
Okay.
day.
I actually, and you know me, Joe, I might be new to the NBA show, but you know the way I like to handicap. I do tend to go contrarian, but Rob hit on something that I think is really key, and that is the Cavs' huge edge defensively, especially when Jarrett Allen's back in the lineup. This is the number 1 team in the league in terms of points per possession allowed. Easy for me to say. None of their last 6 opponents have scored more than 102. The Kings are a bottom 10 team in defensive efficiency. They're allowing 116 points per game. They just gave up 126 at Milwaukee to start this trip. Rob talked about the pace that Cleveland likes to play at. I believe it is the slowest in the league. If it's not the slowest, it's like the second slowest. And how about the home court advantage the Cavs are enjoying this year? 11-1 against the number at home. I could see maybe where the contrarian gods are going here, that you're not going to cover every game at home. In Cleveland, though, 13-4 against the spread, laying points. It is too short, I think, the number. I think this line moved in the wrong direction today, Joe. I really do. I would side with Cleveland in this one. I also agree with something Rob said, that they are better served in case of the key absent. If both Fox and Mitchell are out, I think Cleveland is better served to absorb that absence tonight.
All right. Way to bring that shit show back to a close there, Brian. Sacramento +3.
Why they brought me on, Joe?
We're going to see next week how the contrarian gods treat you here. But 3.5 is the way they are looking here with Sacramento. And once again, if you didn't hear contrarian gods, Andy would say, please pick a damn game that's got some props in it. All right, we'll move on. Featured matchup here. That'll be fantastic. It's going to be a good one, too, as Milwaukee going to be taking on the Dallas Mavericks. Now suddenly everything is great in our world, Dallas Mavericks, apparently, the Dallas here. What do they got? +1 with a total of 224.5 coming off of that steamroll of Phoenix there the other night. And now, well, this is a different kind of animal, isn't it, here with the Milwaukee Bucks? Andy, definitely some prop bets. You can focus in on this one. Where are you leaning in this matchup?
Yeah, this one is just full of players that produce. The point total for Giannis is 30.5, and I know Middleton's back, but I mean, just you got to go down these numbers for Giannis. I'll read his point totals he's had recently: 35, 34, 40, 37, 30, 38, 36, 37. Listen, you don't need to watch the show for me to break news that Giannis is really good. But I had to narrow this down to one, and I kept coming back to Drew Holiday over his points, rebounds, and assists, which is at 29.5. He has been playing really, really well, and I think he actually plays a lot better and does better stats-wise when he has his full complement of players. I think it opens up the floor a little bit better. I think he has more options to get assists. So he's had 33, 43, 35, and 42 points, rebounds, and assists the last 4 games. My only hesitation is that Dallas, over the course of a season, is good against point guards, but they still give up 35 points, rebounds, and assists to opposing point guards. Dallas has a very, very slow pace. We do know that, so possessions could be limited. But just recently in the last few games, Dallas has been involved in some shootouts. We had a point total of 231 against Denver, 241 against Phoenix, 221 against the Knicks, and 256 in an overtime game against Detroit. So if we're looking at smaller sample sizes, just recently Dallas has been involved in some shootouts. Holiday is he's the engine that makes that team run, so don't be surprised if he has a good one. I'm going to go with Holiday as my favorite play in this game.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I mean, it's maybe the healthiest that we have seen this Bucks team in a long time, Rob Vino. I mean, I'm not even seeing – usually there's always some sort of injury designation here, but I'm seeing Giannis, Middleton here, Holiday, all seem to be good to go. So what do we do? I mean, they've certainly been better here, Dallas, as of late, but you trust them in this spot at home to get it done.
I wanted to, but it just wasn't enough as far as points to get me there, Joe. I talked about this the other day. It's 5 games now, and Jason Kidd, give him credit, searching for answers, inserts Tim Hardaway Jr. into the starting lineup, and the offense is taken off. Andy went through some numbers of how many points their games have produced the last 5. They've all been over this number of 225, and Hardaway Jr. is on fire. I think it's at least 2. It could be 3 games in a row where Tim Hardaway Jr. has hit 5 3-pointers or better. And it's just funny how, the starting forwards up until that point, Dorian Finney-Smith, Reggie Bullock couldn't throw the ball in the ocean. And Tim Hardaway Jr. coming off the bench could not throw the ball in the ocean. However, you make a little change, Hardaway for Bullock, and everybody seems to be benefiting here. Hardaway looks really confident. Certainly looks like the guy pre-injury at this point in time. So with the Dallas offense picking up really good, and Milwaukee over the total 9 of their last 14, and in 7 of those 9, they all went over this 224.5 number. I think maybe you still want to look at over. What's a little bit scary for me is the Milwaukee defense. When it wants to show up, it can be a bear. And I think there's a number where Milwaukee is like 8-1 to the under on the road this year. So there's a couple of things that you could, come back at me with toward the under. But I think the other side overwhelms it right now. The fundamentals just seem to suggest Milwaukee's playing high-scoring games. As you mentioned, Joe, they're fully healthy. Dallas is playing high-scoring games, made the right move into the starting lineup with Hardaway Jr. So I'll try over the point total in this game rather than mess with the side.
So it's interesting you say that, Rob, because Brian Power, I saw a number, if I'm not mistaken, I read, and they have not been healthy, this Milwaukee team, but somewhere like 29 or 30% of their missed shots end up in them rebounding it and getting a second chance opportunity. So the physicality on the boards for this Milwaukee team, I don't know, is Dallas going to out-rebound them here tonight? I mean, do you give the edge to Milwaukee, or is it the home team for you?
Well, look, later game, maybe you don't want to stay up too late, or you just don't want to sweat something out late. Let's look at the first quarter total here, Joe. Ooh. Let's just try to cash an easy one. The Bucks have scored at least 30 points in the first quarter each of the last 4 games. The Mavs have done the same in 4 of their last 5, hitting 36 3 different times. It's quite a hot start for the Mavs. And these teams played on November 27th. Score at the end of the first quarter was 41-33. Hello, that's quite a bit of points at 74, if my math is correct. I think Luka's going to have a bounce-back game here. He was, I believe, 5 of 17 in the last game. He was very lucky that Hardaway picked up the slack for him. And then 6 of the last 7 times Luka's been active against the Bucks, we have seen 55 or more combined points scored in the first quarter between these teams. That's significant because the over-under for the first quarter in this game is, Joe, 54.5. So I will go over 54.5 points scored in the first quarter here tonight on Bucks Mavs. Why be emotionally invested in the last 3 quarters when you can just win after the first 12 minutes?
Did you see what he did there, Vino? It's like took a page right out of skit. You're getting all kinky on us here in your first day, aren't you? Look at him, man, busting out first quarter.
I'm glowing even, too. Or actually, it's actually my poor lighting here as the sun's going down in the room.
You're going to fit in just fine here. Somewhere Ski's like, what? What was that? Give me that overtime. One more. Let's focus on a total here. Preferably not a first quarter total, though. As we're going to take a look here at the, I believe the Utah Jazz, is it? Of course it is. Taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the number, well, it's starting to come down here a little bit, which might be a little shocking to some. 236 is an open. 234.5 right now here, Andy. So still a big total here nonetheless. What do you think here? Anybody in particular you'd focus on with such a high total in this matchup?
Yeah, again, a lot of guys you can look at. D'Angelo Russell has been playing well. I think he's gone over his points, rebounds, and assist total in the last 2 games just with his points. So you could look at him, but I don't want to get involved in a D'Angelo Russell prop. He and I have a checkered past. So I dug a little bit deep, and boy, there's a player that a lot of people probably aren't too worried about, Jalen Noel, over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists, 24, 26, 31, 30, and 22. That's his PRA totals the last few games. Since Towns got hurt, he's flown over his total. And look at these minutes. I'm going to read these: 26, 23, 31, 25, 24. That's his minutes the last 5 games. Before that, 18, 11, 9, 14, 7. So you're seeing a guy getting a lot of opportunities. His minutes are increasing and his production is increasing. And I don't think the books have caught up to this one. 20.5 just seems really low with a guy that's doing well. And I don't see any reason why they would take him off the court when he's producing so well. I would also, this is called overtime, but this is not a play, but I have a sneaking suspicion Rudy Gobert goes under 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists, just because this is a spot that everyone would expect Rudy Gobert to do really good in, so it screams under.
Yeah.
Like revenge game. I mean, is there any less scary words in sports than Rudy Gobert revenge game? Like oh no, not Rudy, not a Rudy Gobert revenge game. Oh no, this 4 points and 7 rebounds are going to be too much. It's also a revenge game for Utah going against him. You don't think they're going to be really motivated to try and shut him down? So I just sneaking lean that Rudy Gobert goes under. If it's a spot that you expect him to do well in, run the other way. But yeah, Jalen Noel, I think we can get some mileage out of this one. Wouldn't surprise me if we can cash this a few more games in a row.
So, Rob, we did see this, a month and a half ago there, October 20th, 21st, somewhere in that ballpark. I get it. I mean, they dropped almost, 260 points in that game there. We know both of these teams are capable of, 120 or plus and without blinking an eye. But you trust maybe Minnesota to play any defense to keep this thing under, or is it simply over or not for you here?
Well, it's hard with the injury situation right now, right? I guess we don't get Colin Sexton tonight, but we might not get Lauri Markkanen either. And, this morning, Mike Conley was a definite go, and now he's a question mark. So on the Utah side of things, it's a little dicey when you have that many. Let's not even reference Mike Conley Jr., but the other two you really need for points here in this game. So it's kind of difficult to go ahead and dive in toward the over without any knowledge of whether or not those two guys are going to be on the floor. However, as we know, Joe, the market certainly will play under on a question mark. They don't care. Guys are questionable. Let's bet under. So that's why we see the thing go down. In Rudy Gobert's defense, and this is another crazy thing about Minnesota. This is where I find them a little bit interesting right now. We've seen, and again, it's a small sample size, but we've seen Towns and Gobert when they're together on the floor. It just doesn't work. Minnesota's offense has been sporadic all season long. Andy talked about D'Angelo Russell, and he's a prime case for, he went through a real cold spell, and now all of a sudden Towns isn't playing, and he's playing a little bit better. Rudy Gobert picked up 16 points and 21 rebounds last game with no Towns on the floor. Now, Towns has been out for a few games, but maybe he's getting adjusted, not having that guy on the floor with him, and maybe he's due to put up, or maybe he's going to start putting up big numbers. Minnesota, for the Western Conference elite teams, like teams that you thought were going to be in the top 8 and make the playoffs to start the season, of those types of teams, I've dropped Minnesota in my power ratings more than any other. They've just been that inconsistent. I don't know what to do with them. I know Utah wants to play pace. I know Minnesota will play pace. These numbers are up there, Joe. We talk about it all the time. It takes a lot to get to 235. Right now, I would say with the thought of Sexton and Markkanen not playing, I would probably look toward the under.
All right, looking towards the under. Some question marks there, certainly on the injury front, Brian Power. But, we just watched Minnesota dump, 121 on Indiana, 128 on OK. So they are more than capable of getting it done here. Do you trust these two teams to hit somewhere in that 240 mark?
Look, it's hard to make a case for the under. in this game, Rob, I think, did a very good job, and I'm going to agree with them, actually, on there. But, I mean, before I circle back to that, I'll just talk about what these teams have done. The last 5 times they've met, the game has gone over. So it's not a surprise that the number is so high. You mentioned the last meeting, Joe. It was 132 to 126. That game did go to overtime now. So point total a little inflated. But it was 120-120 at the end of regulation. So still a very high-scoring game without the extra 5 minutes. Utah, not good defensively, bottom 6 in efficiency. And on the offensive side, they've shot 50% or better in 4 of their last 6 games. Minnesota, 4 of their last 5 games have gone over the total. So again, we see why the number is high, but I just have a feeling we're heading for the under here. Rob talked about the potential absences for the Jazz. The number has moved down a little bit, which caught my eye. And then Minnesota, 8-4 under this season when the total's 230 or higher. So kind of when the market expects a high-scoring game, that's when they go under. So I am going to lean under here on this matchup. Probably won't go under by a lot, but I think it will stay under by just a little bit.
All right, looking towards the under in that one there. Minnesota taking on. And I got to say here, guys, if you hear that noise to start the show, it wasn't just Rob Vino's dogs barking. There's a few other dogs barking here today. Let's see what we got here, Robert.
That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. That's my dog. And anybody got to say anything, you let me know. That's my dog.
All right. Well, we got a few of them barking here today. Not just in Vino's house. We've got Charlotte is in there, as is Orlando. The Wizards, shocker. The Lakers, look at them getting points there. Atlanta, Detroit, New Orleans, Minnesota, and Dallas. So we've got, a little something for everybody here, depending on how big a dog you'd be looking at here tonight. So, Andy, start us off here, man. Which one of these dogs might be barking for you here tonight?
Well, I'm going to go with the Pelicans plus 1.5, but really I chose this game because I think there's a couple props that we can take advantage of in this one. So it's a close game, and I just like the Pelicans to score a lot of points. So my favorite prop in this one is the Pelicans team total over 113.5. Suns defense has just not been performing. They've given up 125 to Boston. Obviously, no shame in that one. Boston's running through everybody, but they also gave up 103 to Dallas and 122 to Houston. They did give up 95 to San Antonio, but that almost doesn't count at this point. And the Pelicans have scored 117 or more in 3 out of 4. I wonder if they're going to have an answer for Zion tonight. Ayton has done well, but Valanciunas, I think, can, kind of take him out of the mix here a little bit. And I'm not really sure if the Suns have anybody that can match up good for Zion. I think McCollum will have a good night unless that's who Mikal Bridges decides to try and shut down. But I just think the Pelicans have pretty good matchups here. Chris Paul looked against Boston coming back, so I would go under his points. It's 10.5. He only shot the ball 6 times in his return, 0 for 2 from 3-pointers, and he only had 4 points. So I would look at the Pelicans team total as my favorite here. I also think this could be a really nice rebound spot for Booker. I just can't get to the window on it. He had a horrible game against Boston, but it sets up well for a big rebound game. Booker does not have 2 bad games in a row. It's a huge number, 28.5. But he's going to get really, really close to this number. And if this game ends up being a shootout, Booker should fly over. But Pelicans team total over. I think it's a close game. Therefore, I think the value is on the dog. So give me the Pelicans.
All right. Barking with the Pelicans, getting half a bucket there. What do you think, Brian Power? If there was a dog barking on this card tonight, which one would it be for you?
Well, what a way to make a debut here, then, to tell the folks to take the Orlando Magic.
Oh, hell
tonight.
No.
You're getting 8.5 at home. Hey, we started the college football. We started my voyage on the college football show by telling the folks to take Rice. Let's hope this one goes a little bit better, Joe. Look, the Magic, they snapped a 9-game losing skid on Wednesday. It took overtime to do so. They beat the Clippers, but they're 5-0 at home this year when getting 7 or more. And Toronto, who's kind of in that middle of the pack in the Eastern Conference, maybe they could finish in the top 6, maybe they don't. But this is a team that is not favored on the road very often. As a matter of fact, this will only be the 5th time all season they are favored on the road. Their record previously as road chalk, 1-3 against the number, 2 outright losses. I believe the only cover is against San Antonio, who is ranked dead last in my power ratings, a very prestigious list, as you know, Joe, which I'll email that to you after the show.
Please do.
But the Raptors, they just got done playing the Celtics and Lakers. So I'm not sure how excited they're going to be for this game either. You know, they just beat the Magic by 13 at home last weekend, and they're going to be playing here in Orlando again on Sunday. I just think kind of a sleepy spot for Toronto. And worst comes to worst, maybe they're up comfortably in the fourth quarter. Orlando just comes in through the back door at the end. So let's go 8.5 with Orlando. There were some 9s available, but those got gobbled up, kind of confirming my suspicion here that, Orlando might be a good play. So take that.
Well, I'm telling you, part of me thinks Tony Mejia is playing dress up and naming himself Brian Power. Talk to me here, because we know he's an Orlando Magic season ticket holder. But Brian Power's got better taste than that. He would never go see the Orlando Magic. He just bet on him. Talk to me, Vino. Let me see. Is there a half a point somewhere Vino can back as a dog? No, I'm sorry. You're going to have to go at least 1.5 here, Vino. Where are you going tonight?
Well, I'll triple that. I'll go 3.5. But that's not really triple because triple would be 4.5. So,
4.5.
Mathematics aside, I'm going to take Charlotte. I'll just go with a hot team here, right? That's an underdog. Charlotte's 6-2 against the spread last 8 games. The only 2 times they didn't cover was against Milwaukee and Boston. No shame there. Otherwise, they've covered against the Nets. They've covered against the Clippers, the Wizards twice, Minnesota, and Philadelphia. So pretty good list. 4-1 against the spread at home in their last 5. They played the Knicks once in late October already, and that game went overtime, 134-131 Knicks. Charlotte only loses by 3 on the road. The Knicks, to me, guys, Tom Thibodeau seems to still be searching for that defensive lineup. I don't know how he's going to create a defensive lineup, unless he calls Lance Burton or some magician to help him out, because they just don't have defensive players. But right now, the guys that have been relegated to the bench after Evan Fournier basically got Kemba Walkered for the rest of the year. He hasn't played in quite a while. But the new guys on the bench are Derrick Rose and Cam Reddish. They had their turn. They can't play D. You guys take a seat on the bench, and we're going to try Miles McBride and Quentin Grimes as the top 2 guys here and see if they can play some defense. There's too much experimentation going on with the Knicks for me. So I think, Charlotte, as I mentioned, hot team at home here. 4-1 against the spread, 6-2 last 8. Already played the Knicks tight. We'll try it. Plus 3.5 Charlotte.
Oh, I like it. All right. So we got Charlotte. Vote for Charlotte, Orlando, and New Orleans there with the dogs. Now it's time for some best bets. Well, if you're new here, and some of you are, here it's a very simple process. We throw 60 seconds on the clock. We throw you on the screen. I don't care what the hell you do with that 60 seconds. Just make sure you give us a best bet somewhere in between. And if you hear that buzzer, that means you piss Robert off, the producer, and you're probably in trouble. So, Andy Lang, show some of the newer folks here, if you could, how this is done. 60 seconds on the clock. What's your best bet for tonight?
Well, we got a 4% best bet up at WagerTalk.com. Also have our 5% NFL play. That is the one I am pushing people towards. That's what we've been running best in. 15-4 run on those, and 3-0 last week on 5% best bets NFL. For tonight, listen, if Orlando is going to cover the spread, I don't think it's going to be because of Markelle Fultz. So give me under 11.5 points. This is plus money too. So let me read you Markelle Fultz's points totals: 8, 10, 7. He had a random 20-point game, which still makes no sense. I have no rhyme or reason why. Somehow he scored 20 points against Milwaukee Bucks. The next game, he returned with a solid game with a point. 1 point is what he scored against the Clippers. 0 from the field, obviously, 0 for 4. So I don't think the Milwaukee game is any indication of how he's scoring. Give me the under on Markelle Fultz, 11.5 points.
Boom! All right, under a Markelle Fultz there. A quick question, Andy. Scotty Barnes, half a block. Have they raised it yet?
It's OG and newbie, and he's done it 2 games in a row.
It's
2 games in a row.
All right, there you go. Boom. Love it. Talk to us here. Brian Power, you think you want us to clap it out? Did you get enough of seeing what Andy did? So, all right, don't screw it up. Here we go. 60 seconds, Brian Power. Where you going for a best bet?
I'm glad that you clarified 1 minute is 60 seconds there, Joe. So here we go. Let's look at the under in the Suns and Pelicans game. The number, I think, is a little bit high. Andy said he liked the Pelicans to go over their team total. I could see that happening. But the only thing is Ingram is out, and when he's out, McCollum, Williamson, and Valanciunas, they only average 1.02 points per possession together on the court. Neither of these teams play fast. Both sport top 10 defensive efficiency ratings. In fact, the Pelicans, number 2 in that regard, only trailing Cleveland. 4 of their last 5 stayed under the total. The only exception to that was when they dealt with the hot shooting Raptors team. Ingram's not the only starter out. Jones is out as well. I just think this is going to be a lower scoring game compared to the first meeting on October 28th when they combined for 235 points. The Suns also play slower when Chris Paul is on the court. So give me the under Suns Pelicans.
All right, let's go, Rob Vino. We got 60 seconds on. We got 60 seconds on the clock, Vino. Where are you going here for a best bet tonight?
I mean, come on, guys. Brian was glowing off of his first quarter analysis of the Dallas game, and then you give him that music after he gives you a best bet. You got to be kind to the guy. Bring him back one time. And gather the friends and family around the Christmas fire tonight to rewatch that segment. I'm going to try Brooklyn, Joe. Straight fade of the Atlanta Hawks right now, right? We talked about it a little bit. UI and Ski together the other night when they played the Knicks, or in anticipation of them playing the Knicks the next night, that Atlanta's got internal troubles right now on top of their injury situation. Let's face it, the weakness of the team was the bench to begin with, and now the starting unit is the one that's really decimated. You have no DeJounte Murray, gets hurt the other night. The starting forward tandem banged up. Trae Young playing with a bad shoulder, doesn't like his coach. And Brooklyn seems to be turning a little bit of a corner here. So I'm going to lay 7.5 with the Brooklyn Nets. Straight fade of the Atlanta Hawks. Let's play Brooklyn at home minus the points.
Boom! Love it. All right, guys, one more time. Quick recap here of what we got going, including Andy Lang. His dog tonight going to be New Orleans. They're going to be barking. His best bet, though, is Markelle Fultz under 11.5 points. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, damn it. Brian Power all over the Orlando Magic. Plus 8.5 here tonight. Backdoor going to be wide open there against Toronto. But his best bet, Phoenix, New Orleans, don't expect a ton of points. Under 228. While Rob Vino says, take the hot team, Charlotte, plus 3.5 here tonight as they take on the New York Knicks. But his best bet is going to be the Brooklyn Nets. Why? Because the Hawks are hot garbage. That's why. And the contrarian gods, just so we all know, Sacramento, plus 3.5 here tonight. Looking to get it done against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And speaking of getting it done, if you head over to WagerTalk.com, you will find all 3 of these fine, upstanding individuals, including the prop god, Mr. Andy Lang, told you he's got a 5% best bet up in the NFL right now. Brian Power already locked and loaded for the NFL. 6, count them, I believe 6, he said. NFL plays locked and loaded up there, including a couple of college hoops games this weekend, a little NBA, a little something for everybody. And Rob Vino ready to go in the association tonight, guys. No reason not to kick off this weekend by cashing a few tickets. Visit all 3 of them at WagerTalk.com. All right, that does it for another week here at the NBA Tip-Off Show. Back again on Monday. We'll do it all over, starting a new week, start fresh, and we'll help you count the money here. And on behalf of Andy, Rob Vino, and Fantastic job, Ryan Power. Way to make your debut. Outstanding. That first quarter bet will absolutely go down in the record books. I can promise you we'll never get another first quarter bet like yours right there. But best of luck here, guys, all of you, with your plays this weekend. Come back and join us again Monday. Good luck. We'll talk to you then.
Let's finish off 2022 with a bang. First, we'd like to thank everyone as a record number of you took advantage of our Thanksgiving 7-day special. We hope you enjoyed the convenience of getting your favorite handicappers plays daily during the hectic holiday weekend. And we also know that December can be a frenzied month with the holidays and all the sports in play. In the spirit of the season and due to the success of the Thanksgiving special, we are now offering a rest of the calendar year special to get every NFL, college bowl game, NBA, NHL, or any other sport your favorite handicapper releases through December 31st for only $1.99. The early bird really does catch the worm for this special as it starts the day you sign up. No coupon is needed, and you pay only $1.99 today or pay $1.99 in a few days. The choice is simple. Let's have a great ending to 2022.